There are links to all my social media as well as my Patreon and tip video playlist down below. I did a video style like this a few months ago and a lot of you guys really seem to enjoy it. So if you guys want this to become a regular series on my channel where I go over simple mistakes, how to fix them, and just my overall thoughts on these specific things, let me know in the comment section below. As well as if one of you guys know you have a simple mistake you keep doing but don't know how to fix it, make sure you guys leave a comment on this video to possibly have me share some ways to fix that in an upcoming video. Also, if you guys want to see me make a tip video on a topic you have not seen me make yet, there's a whole text room in my Discord where you can give me ideas on a video or inspiration for the next tip video or just a video in general. So if you would like to see a video on a topic you haven't seen me make yet, make sure you guys join my Discord. There's a link to it in the description below. I would greatly appreciate you guys go check that out. Alright, the very first mistake that I would like to discuss is not taking in your environment. So to allow me to explain and elaborate what I mean a little bit more. So I'm sure we've had a situation where you heard someone but didn't actually pay attention to the sound cue, or you hear a barricade break right behind you and you decided not to look and it got you killed. Just a situation like that, where you don't really pay much attention to what you're hearing or seeing, and it ends up getting you killed or a teammate killed. What I'm talking about here is situational awareness. Let's go over this topic more on defense and I'll explain it on attack as well. So when you're on defense, you should rely on utility for the most part, right? Whether it's a shield, mirror window, maestro cam, lesion mine, or even a banshee from Malusi. Most of the time you're going to rely on that information or utility until the attacker starts to take away that information and utility, and then most of the time you're going to be forced into a gunfight of some sort. That's usually how a round goes in this game, at least from my experience. So what I'm getting at here is not using the utility to your advantage when you have the option to. Especially for unexperienced players, I see them do this all the time. So for an example, if there's a shield on a door, and instead of playing off the shield, you're standing holding an angle through that doorway. That just doesn't really make sense to me. Now it might seem like a shitty example, but I'm just trying to give you the best example to give so that way we're on the same page. So what I like to do is take a mental note, especially when I'm solo queuing. I'll take a mental note of where I see a shield being placed, a maestro cam being placed, a lesion mine being placed, whatever piece of utility it may be. I take a mental note of that, and if I hear an attacker trip a lesion mine, I remember where the closest one to me is, or if I hear an attacker running through or breaking a piece of barbed wire, depending on the loudness of the barbed wire, I recall in my mind where that piece of barb would be. That way, if I need to react, I won't hesitate in the moment and I can just react and do whatever I need to do during that moment. The same thing goes for the attacking side as well. More specifically while you're droning, because you really shouldn't be always face checking or peeking something for information, you should take a mental note of where the utility is when you see it. So what I like to do personally is everyone has that little voice in the back of their head that, I guess, their conscience, I guess. So mentally I take notes. Again, if I'm solo queuing, I will take notes mentally of where a piece of barbed wire would be, where a lesion mine, an Ella mine, a shield, a maestro, whatever piece of utility I might see while I am droning. I always talk to myself in my head, okay, here's this piece of utility, here's that piece of utility, etc., etc. It's also important to make a checklist of things you should probably destroy first. So if you're playing Ash or Zofia or an operator with frag grenades, your first step should always be looking for ADSs or Wamai magnets, because obviously if you can avoid an Ash charge being ADS or caught by a Wamai magnet, you should definitely avoid it. So it's not always looking just for shields or maestro cams, whatever it may be. It's also looking for Wamai magnets that might be tucked away in the corner, or an ADS placement that might be placed really well that you're not really looking too deeply for. So it's always important that when you see a shield, there's most likely going to be an ADS supporting it, or maybe a couple Wamai magnets, whatever it may be. But it's very, very important to look for those ADSs and Wamai magnets. If there aren't any, that's great. But if there are, remember how many ADSs or magnets you see, and then quickly do the math in your head. So if you guys don't know, one Wamai magnet equals to one piece of projectile, and one ADS from Jaeger will always take 2 pieces of projectile to burn. So what I'm really getting at here is what piece of utility is making the defender's jobs easier. Then you slowly eliminate those pieces of utility until they either die or leave the position that they're defending. So the next mistake I want to talk about is shooting a barricade open with only leaving 5 to 10 bullets left in the magazine. This is a mistake that a lot of players still make subconsciously. It's always important to have a comfortable amount of ammo left in your magazine to take on at least one gunfight, because you never really know when someone might swing through a barricade that you just opened, unless you have a friend or a teammate on a drone who's giving you 100% accurate intel in that area. What I suggest you do to avoid this mistake is to shoot half of your mag into the barricade, then reload and then fully break it. So that way you have at least 15 bullets to then take a gunfight. Since it only takes exactly 20 bullets to break either a single or double barricaded door. And if your gun doesn't have enough ammo, like Twitch's F2 or Habana's assault rifle, what you can do is just reload twice. Or again, if you have accurate info in the area, then you can just shoot the barricade open and then reload after. Now, the third and final mistake I would like to cover is holding angles close to objects. So if you've played the game long enough, I'm sure some of you guys have experienced dying to someone you can't see, or you only see a leg or an elbow when you do die. Well, it happens a lot in this game from my experience. And a way to prevent this from happening so much is not holding angles so close to objects. Now, the reasoning behind this tip is because the closer you are to an object, the more of the screen it's going to take up. That's a loose explanation. I don't know the mechanics of the game and how the perspectives work exactly, but the bottom line is it will help you. Look at this for example. I learned this specific angle from Zyronic. If you guys don't know who he is, he's a phenomenal streamer, and I learn something new every single time I watch his stream. He's a very entertaining guy, and he's just overall super cool. Probably my favorite R6 streamer on Twitch, by far. But this angle on Oregon, it's very common for the attackers to push bunker into pillar area and then hold the freezer swing into the hallway from pillar, correct? Well, if you stand close to the pillar, you won't be able to see someone swing deep out into the hallway. So instead of them being able to see you and you not seeing them, take a step back away from the pillar so that way you're not giving the enemy an unfair advantage. This tip applies to pretty much any angle you want to hold. Now that's going to wrap up this tip video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope I taught you guys something new. If I did, make sure you guys leave a like and hit that sub button as well as that notification bell. I would greatly appreciate the support. As I said at the beginning of the video, there are links to all my social media in the description below. Make sure you guys join my Discord. I have an amazing community in there, and I'm always there, so if you have any questions, don't be afraid to DM me. I'm usually available. With all of that being said, I appreciate the support. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.